Good day. Welcome to News Now on TV360. I'm Thelma Okoro. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari held separate meetings with the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, and the Group Managing Director of NNPC. The meeting, which was announced by Bashir Ahmed, Buhari's personal assistant on new media, is the president's first official function in over 2 weeks. Speaking to newsmen after the meeting, the AGF Malami said the meeting was to brief the president on the findings of the committee set up to probe the suspended Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachi David Lawal, and Ayo Oke, the Director General of the National Intelligence Agency. The absence of the president at key government functions had fueled speculations about the true state of his health.
The presidential committee that is investigating the NIA and indeed the secretary to the government of the Federation are supposed to make a submission of report by tomorrow. So it is preemptive now to discuss anything, considering the fact that, one, the committee is under the chairmanship of the vice president, who is supposed to brief Mr. President in that respect, and then two, the time fixed for the committee has not elapsed. So it will be preemptive in my own case to raise any issue relating thereto. Again, the background of the fact that the time has not elapsed, and then again the background of the fact that it is the chairman of the committee that is supposed to engage Mr. President as it relates to the outcome. There are limited routine issues that relates to the parastatals under the Federal Ministry of Justice. And indeed, as you are aware, that this afternoon the Electoral Reform Committee that has been put in place by the President has submitted a report to my office, and I equally briefed Mr. President that in addition to the report, there are bills that have been presented for the consideration of the Federal Executive Council as it relates to to the associated amendments to the electoral process.
It's part of our normal working relationship with Mr. President to come and brief him on the state of the NNPC and its subsidiaries, and also nationally to get him briefed on the situation with fuel supply, crude oil production, gas production, and by extension, ability to supply sufficient gas to the power sector. All those we've had an extensive briefing. As you could see, I passed here over 2 hours ago, so I've spent quite some time with him to discuss these national issues. It's not the duty of NNPC to review the prices of petroleum products. The right quarters to discuss that is the Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency, PPPRA. So for me, it's to be given what price to sell, and I sell at that price.
Meanwhile, some of Nigeria's civil society leaders have called on the president to take medical leave following speculations about the true state of his health. The activists, including lawyer Femi Falana and political analyst Jibrin Ibrahim, advised the president to take a rest and attend to his health. The president has been absent from 2 consecutive cabinet meetings, as well as Friday prayers at the presidential villa in Abuja. President Buhari had been away for nearly 2 months for medical treatment in the United Kingdom earlier this year. The Nigerian Senate has finally begun the confirmation hearing of 27 INEC resident electoral commissioners in the country. The Senate had in March postponed the hearing of the commissioners as part of its protest against the president's refusal to sack Ibrahim Magu as acting EFCC chairman. Now, despite their demands, the president refused to sack Magu and says he will continue as acting EFCC chairman. The European Union heads of commission in Nigeria and ambassador to Switzerland has condemned death penalty sentences in Nigeria. The officials have called on the government to comprehensively respond to the issue through a more transparent approach. The envoy singled out the proposed executions of Lagos State, describing it as cruel, degrading, and inhumane punishment. As of 2017, Nigeria remains one of the only countries in the world where capital punishment is still legal. In 2016 alone, Nigeria recorded over 527 death sentences.
We are repeating our arguments. Death penalty has never been a deterrent. People continue killing. Another argument is, given it's a human enterprise, justice. So judges and lawyers made mistakes. So at the end, you may reach a situation where you are killing somebody who will be proven innocent a few years later, but it's irreversible. The poor people have been killed. And thirdly, I would say on a more in the field of ethics, we believe that it's not acceptable, after all, that a state, an authority would kill their own citizens. So there are many other reasons. Certainly, the argument that the prisons are overpopulated and that people should be executed is not an argument. It's an incredible argument, I would say. So we are trying to engage positively with the Ministry of Justice, with the judiciary, but also with the governors to have a comprehensive response to the issue. Because a lot of people are sentenced, a lot of those people, I think there are almost 2,000 in the death row, they have been sentenced to death by military courts 20 years ago. Isn't it time to revise their judgment? Isn't it right to revise their situation? How long will you keep those people in prison? We hope that sooner or later the federal government will really review in a more open manner this issue of death penalty.
A magistrate court in Jigawa State has remanded a former governor of the state, Sule Lamido, in prison custody. The chief magistrate, Usman Lamin, ruled that Lamido would be in prison until May 4th, when applications for his bail are decided by the court. Lamido is being arraigned on a 4-count charge of inciting violence with some provocative statements he said recently. The Resource Center for Human Rights and Civic Education have called for establishment of an independent body to handle whistleblowing and related matters. New chairman of the board of directors, Mohamadu Kazim Momodu, made the demand following the inauguration of the board in Abuja, the nation's capital. The chairman says the Nigerian government should consider an independent body to ensure sustenance and fully develop an effective whistleblowing practice in the country.
Now, to ensure sustenance and to fully develop a positive and effective whistleblowing practice and culture, the federal government should consider the establishment of an independent statutory body to handle whistleblowing and related matters. The body should be truly independent and free from the control of any other government ministry, department, agency, or authority. It should have authority to prosecute, even as it works with existing law enforcement agencies like the Nigerian Police, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, and the Federal Ministry of Justice. The anti-corruption discourse ought to be connected to the interests and expectations of the ordinary people. The crisis project of promoting democratic accountability, focusing on the issue of maternal health, is already doing that. Corruption is one of the major contributory factors to the high level of maternal deaths in our country. It is therefore in the interest of citizens to fight all shades of corruption in the health sector.
MTN Nigeria has given reasons behind the sack of close to 300 of its workers recently. The telecom firm said the workers were fired in order to increase opportunities for professionals with fresh perspectives. MTN said the workers who have worked with the company for more than 5 years were allowed to pursue or the carrier interests. Nigeria President Muhammadu Buhari has pledged to ensure a speedy consideration of the new minimum wage proposed by labor unions in the country. The unions are demanding an increase of the country's minimum wage to 56,000 naira from 18,000 recorded recently. In his Workers' Day message to workers, the president said the welfare of Nigerian workers remained his utmost priority. He said that he was aware of the economic recession in the country and how it has made huge impact for the conduct of industrial relations. National Chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Ali Modu Sharif, says the party would pay a reasonable minimum wage to workers if it returns to power in 2019. This was contained in a statement released by the opposition chairman to mark the 2017 May Day celebrations. He said that the PDP was not just seeking to take over power, but was also looking forward to partnering Labour to emancipate citizens, no matter their tribes or religions. The Nigerian Senate has postponed the passage of the Peace Corps of Nigeria bill mandating its committee on the judiciary to look into issues surrounding the corps. The development comes after the postponement of a debate on the bill following the arrest of Dixon Ako, who is the commander of the corps, and several members of the organization in March this year. The police had claimed that insurgents had infiltrated the Peace Corps. Ako was subsequently arraigned on a 90-count charge bordering on fraud. The Federal High Court in Abuja has fixed June 19 to rule on an application filed by Olisa Meto, former spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party, for adjournment of his trial. Meto is standing trial on a 7-count charge bordering on allegations of fraud. He wants the court to suspend the trial pending the decision of the Supreme Court on his no-case submission appeal. He had filed an application in the Supreme Court appealing the decisions of the trial and appeal courts, both which had dismissed his no-case submission.
Corruption not in my country.
Hello, Alahaji. Right now I'm in Abuja. No. Hello, Adamu. Right now I'm in Kano. Yes. When I get back, I'll just call you. Look, what is wrong with you? I'm talking on the phone and you are gesticulating and doing. What's wrong with you?
Daddy, where exactly are we as we speak?
Are you alright? This is Lagos.
Well, you just lied to someone that we're in Abuja.
Keep quiet. Who told you you can tell an elderly person is lying?
Daddy, you just lied. And by lying, you're raising corrupt children for the future of Nigeria. That is corruption, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. Up next is Business News with Fidelia Agwoncha.
Thank you, Thelma. Nigeria's Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says government is nudging the Central Bank of Nigeria to replace some of the 41 items not eligible for foreign exchange. The CBN had earlier this year listed 41 items as not valid for foreign exchange through the official forex window. However, speaking at the forum, Osinbajo said the government is seeking to review the list to exclude items that need to be imported for local manufacturing. The Central Bank of Nigeria says it plans to offer $100 million in currency forwards on Tuesday for settlement in between 1 week and 45 days. The Apex Bank, which has been intervening on the spot and forward markets to meet demand, said that all dollar allotments must be backed by demand from customers. The Naira was quoted weaker on the trading window for investors at 380.31 per dollar on Tuesday. The official interbank market rate was 305.85 and it was quoted at 390 on the black market. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachiku, says the economic growth plan recently launched by the Nigerian government would provide strategic and economic partnership in excess of $50 billion. Speaking on Tuesday, Kachikwu said $2.5 billion to $5 billion will be invested in refineries in the country. He also assured investors of security and the new ease of doing business in Nigeria, adding that government had made progress on reforms in the sector. Oil prices steadied on Tuesday as low production by Russia and major OPEC exporters balanced news of higher output in the United States, Canada, and Libya. Benchmark Brent crude oil was down 10 cents to trade at $51.42 a barrel, while U.S. light crude was down 20 cents to trade at $48.64 a barrel. Now, OPEC and other producers plan to meet on May 25th and are widely expected to keep output limits for the rest of the year. That's all on business. More stories coming up. Don't go away.
Corruption not in my country.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. Two of us.
Thank you very much, officer. You know, it's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, so...
Oh, yes.
This is just a token of my appreciation.
Oh, no, you don't need to do this. We are only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Which came up with this one? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Armed groups in Central African Republic have killed at least 45 civilians over the past 3 months. The violence in the country has pitted armed groups against one another in the central province of Waka, which is at the border of the mainly Muslim north and the mainly Christian south of the country. The United Nations, which has a 13,000 safe peacekeeping mission in the former French colony, has sought to disperse fighters with airstrikes in Waka as they advance on the town of Bambari. Suspected militants have killed 3 police officers and wounded 5 others in an attack in the Egyptian capital of Cairo. The assailants, riding in 2 vehicles, opened fire on a security convoy on the main ring road in the Nasser city area. No group has since claimed responsibility for the attack, which occurred on Monday night. The Nigerian government has announced plans to host the new WBA heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. The Nigerian-born British boxer defeated Ukrainian boxer Vladimir Klitschko to win his first heavyweight title. The victory over Klitschko also stretches Joshua's winning run to 19 fights. In a statement, Nigeria's Minister of Information Lai Mohammed congratulated the boxer on his achievements. The Super Sand Eagles have crashed out of the group stages of the 2017 FIFA Beach Soccer World Cup. The team failed to progress to the quarterfinals after losing 1-2 on penalties to Iran following a 4-4 draw during normal time. Nigeria finished third in Group B behind Italy and Iran. Maria Sharapova has returned to the WTA rankings at number 262 after reaching the semi-finals of the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix last week. The Russian was a wild-card entry for the tournament as she marked her return to competitive tennis. She had been banned for 15 months following a positive test for meldonium at the 2016 Australian Open tournament. Sharapova last appeared in the WTA rankings in October last year when she was at number 91. She has not had a ranking outside the top 100 since 2009, when she was ranked at 102 after 9 months with a shoulder injury. That's all we have on news now. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Thelma Okoro.